Hey guys, I'm here with Gavin Thomas, future father, future husband one day down the road, and I have a few questions I'm going to ask him. Question number one is, what must you do to prepare for a kid?
So obviously, I'm not at that stage in life yet, but I think there are multiple things that you can do to prepare to have a kid. I think first off, you need to have a good marriage with your wife. So I think going to like a counseling session or like mimicking or mocking someone else's relationship to see like how they interact with their wives to make sure you're compatible with one another, and then that will lead to you having a kid. And then when you have the kid, it's really important to prepare as much as possible because no one's really ever ready to have a kid. So the more prepared you are, the better off it'll be when the time actually comes. So like, for example, like having proper schooling, proper diet, making sure they get enough hours of sleep at night, making sure they're well nurtured and well taken care of, doctors' offices, like making sure they have all their appointments and stuff. So I think there's multiple things that you must do in order to prepare mentally and physically to have a kid.
Okay, that's a very deep answer. Now, question number two is, why do you think it's important to prepare for a kid?
Well, because you want your children, you want this world to be a better place. So by preparing um, to have the kids, it'll make sure that they're like well fit in society, and they understand how the world works, and they're better off put in this world if they're well taken care of from the start.
Great answer again, and this is Interviews with Trey, and this was Gavin Thomas. Thank you.
Yeah.
And out.
Yeah.
I'm here with Lisa McKenzie, and
Hi.
and the first question I'm going to ask her is, what must you do to prepare for a kid?
Oh, Trey, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
First of all, I think it is important to just do some research and maybe talk to somebody that has maybe had a child, because I feel like there's always something like you could think you have it all under control, but people always think about something else, or the experience always leads you to think about more things. So maybe it's good to talk to somebody else and maybe just get all your ducks in a row. And then I think it's just important to think that physically, like, are you in a healthy, is your body healthy enough to have this child? Mentally, like, are you mentally prepared that you're bringing in another human to this world? It can't just be like, oh, you. And then I think it's just important to like also know, like, are you gonna have it when you have a child? Are you gonna have it with your partner or not? Are you a single parent, or are you working with somebody else? And that you guys both know what morals and values and disciplines you will teach your child.
What a very sophisticated answer. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay. Why is it important to prepare for a kid?
I think it's incredibly important because we all know, I mean, as the human body, it has so many functions and so many like different things. Like, for one, they have feeling. Like, it's not just, I mean, I'm not saying goldfish don't have feelings, but like, they can cry, and you can actually hurt them. And also, I think why it is so important is because they didn't ask to be born. So I feel like if you bring in a human life, or especially like when you're planning on it, then it is extremely important to promise that you will take best care of it. So I feel like that is why it is important to prepare to have a child, because you need to know, first of all, what's coming your way, and you just need to know that it can't be all you anymore. There are going to be nights where you're going to have to do something that you didn't want to do. There are going to be times where you're going to have to give your child the last bite of that chicken nugget that you really wanted, because they are now your kid. And there's going to be times where you are stressed, and times where you're going to have to put their needs before, because they are just growing up, and they're just learning what's happening out in this big, wild, sometimes dark, happy world.
Wow, that was very good too. All right, this has been Interviews with Trey Moss, and this is Lisa McKenzie. Thank you.
What one must think about before having children is somewhat a loaded question, because there's many obvious practical things, financial things, and agreement on how to raise a child, but that's really not the most important thing. I think that it's just understanding that you're being given a precious gift of life to raise, that you're being entrusted by God for this life, and it's a major responsibility because of being a blessing. As all blessings are, they come with many surprises and responsibilities, but it's very worth it. I do think that finding others that have had children, their parenting that you've admired, and gleaning wisdom from them and their support, and understanding that there's going to be big sacrifices and a lot of surprises and unexpected things, and that no one is a perfect parent. No matter how we plan or what we think we want, and even if we plan when, it doesn't usually work out the way we think it's going to, but it's very worth it.
After interviewing Gavin, Lisa, and my mom, I've come to the conclusion that when you are preparing to have a baby, you need to make sure that you are mentally healthy and physically healthy, but also you got to make sure that your marriage is good, because if your marriage isn't good and you go into having a baby, it could affect the kid growing up and it could affect how they raise the kid. So you want to make sure that everything is right mentally with the marriage, but also physically you want to make sure that you're healthy before you have the kid, because if you don't, then you'll get run down a lot more than if you were feeling good. And this is what I learned